So after hosting my own ACC server for just over a week now, and after getting used to what all these tabs and settings do at the top, felt like I should bring you a tutorial on how everything works and how to host your own ACC server. All the links will be in the description in the order as we go through the video. So the first thing you're going to need is a license from Emperor Servers. If you scroll down to this section right here, Purchase Server Manager. We click on this, it's simple enough. You'll be granted a license key after making payment. After you've got your license key, head on over to assettohosting.com, click this little down arrow and select ACC server. So you see there's 3 options. You're probably going to want to pick one of these 2. And the process is the same. Click order now, type in your email, do this. It'll take you to PayPal options, and then same again. I don't really know what pops up after that because I can't show you in the video because it takes you straight to PayPal. But if you get stuck or you need any help, you can click either of these and it will take you to, you know, social media sites, or for me, I communicate with the guys at Assetto Hosting via WhatsApp or email. So if you need any assistance or you have any further questions, you can come down here and click on one of these. After this is all set up and you get your login and everything is set up for the website, we come to this: how to actually set up the race and the server so that everybody can play on it, or special events, or if you're using it for like a community server. This is how we do it. We'll go through every tab in order and I'll tell you what everything does and how to use it. So starting off with quick event, it's pretty straightforward. We select the track, spa. We select the time of day, time multiplier, pretty straightforward. Session duration is just the time for qualifying. Qualifying, that's this. And then further down, the same type of thing. Hour of day for the race, and then time multiplier, session duration in minutes. So we have a 10-minute qualifying session, then a 20-minute race. We press start and it starts. It's super straightforward, but doing it this way actually limits the amount of cars that you can have on the server. So that brings us on to the next tab, presets. So if we click on list, we have a list of pre-created events that I've made where I define what rules and settings I have on the server and on the track. So it's pretty straightforward. We can click new preset to create a new one, or we can click on presets and click create new. So the first thing we would do is pick a track. So Brands Hatch. Every server starts the same with a qualifying and a race. We can click plus to add a practice. You just drag it, move it to the front. Obviously, because you're going to want to have practice, qualifying, and then race. But if you don't want this, you can just scroll down and delete session. So as we can see here, qualifying 10 minutes, race 20 minutes. It works the same as the quick event tab. So we set the session duration, we set the time of day, and the day of the race. Time progression, straightforward. And then post-qualifying time, pre-race wait time, and post-race wait time. I've been setting this to 30 seconds, and this to 60, and this to 60, I think. Just because you end up sat around waiting, and no one's doing anything. You just sat waiting for the race to start. So the next tab, you can also click on these tabs down the side to quickly move between the settings. But the next tab is for creating passwords. If you wanted to create like a private event or like an event for your Discord, let's say, you can define a password here and, you know, only allow the people that you want to join. Next tab, select the type of car that you want. To be honest, most of us are just going to pick this. Session overtime. So this is when, at the end of the race, when first place crosses the line, this is how many seconds will be remaining for the rest of the pack to finish the race. Same again, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. So requirements to join the race. This is one of the more interesting ones, because if we leave it like this and we go take a look at the server, we'll just host it real quick. So it's loads these settings. So we come into multiplayer, we go to server list. I actually just bring it up by typing Tash, 1 of 1. Look, 10 drivers only. So if we go back to the server settings, presets, list, Brands Hatch, edit, come down to these, and we put the requirements to 1. And let's say we put this to 15 and this to 15, which is normally what the default setting is. So now that's changed. We run the server again, and now it's gone up to 14. So if we go back again to the website, we go on the list, we find Brands Hatch, we come down to the requirements setting. If we put this to 2, and then let's say 60, we press save again, start the server with the new settings, and you see now we're up to 27. I asked the guys at Assetto Hosting about how to increase the player count because it was stuck on 14, and this is how you do it. I'm not sure why it does it like this. I would imagine because, you know, man, if you have 15 safety rating, which God help anybody who does, you're not going to want 27 players on the server. But when you start increasing, you know, that skill to where it's above 60, above 70, server grants more players. So if you want to increase your player count, that's how you do it. So carrying on, randomized track when empty. I guess if there's people in the lobby and the track ends or the race ends and everybody leaves, if the server is empty, it will generate a random track. I don't actually use this because I predefine which track I want it to be every 24 hours. I'll show you how to do that in the video as well, because everybody just runs Spa and Monza. We're trying to keep it fresh and run a different track every single day. Don't touch this. This is quite cool. So you can join as a spectator and also join as an admin while you're spectating a race. So if you wanted to play as the steward and dish out penalties and stuff like this during the race while spectating, turning this off will disable automatic disqualifications, and then you will have 3 laps to dish out your own penalties. I actually left this on when I did this, and I was just like dishing out drive-through penalties for people who were, you know, pitting people on the straights or like yeeting into the first corner on the first lap without no consideration of what's going to happen to the race. That person was getting a drive-through. If they didn't like it, they was just leaving. Well, don't yeet into the first corner then. But yeah, this turns off automatic disqualification. Short formation lap. No one wants to drive for a minute and a half before the race starts. Just leave this. Weather conditions, fixed conditions, both experimental. I wouldn't touch these either. So weather tab, pretty straightforward. You know what it is. Rain, clouds, dry, sunny. I typically just go for this. Temperatures, track temp. This actually changed with, you know, light rain, 22:30. We go put it on sunny, 26:30. I think this is like the typical values. And I think I even had it on one of like cloudy and dry. And the track temperature changed depending on whether the sun was out. But yeah, you can, you know, determine how much rain, randomness for the weather in this category. So moving on. So balance of performance, don't really need to use this for public lobbies. Entry list, just leave this on 32. So event rules, qualifying standing, fastest lap. This is same again. It's all pretty straightforward. Mandatory pit stop. This is pretty good if you're doing like a longer endurance race and you want to add a mandatory pit stop. Is refueling allowed in the race? I just leave this on just in case somebody messes up. And if they have like a quali setup and there's not enough fuel to do the race, at least then they can pull into the pits and fill up. But yeah, this is like a bunch of optional settings for race requirements and pit stop requirements. So assists, same again. I just leave this on because at the minute it's just running a public lobby. And I think even if I was to do like a private event, I would probably still leave this on because not everybody wants to have all these things turned off. Event description, we don't need to worry about this. So this is the thing that I use to define which tracks I want on every 24 hours. You can set a name. So like, for instance, I've been calling this whatever the track is, and then whatever day it is. So Brands Hatch Monday, for instance. And then we set this scheduled time. We pick what time we want this to start and the date. You click on this. So like tomorrow for me. So this is, yeah, that's right. This is tomorrow. And then I would just put this to 1200, and then 12 o'clock in the afternoon. This will start. So we press serve. And then if we go to calendar, we can see tomorrow, this is going to start at 12 o'clock. And you can just keep putting these in here. So if we just go to list again, let's just do this. Edit, come down to the bottom, turn this schedule on, put this to 12 o'clock, date, and then we put this to the 11th. Press save, and then go to calendar. See, now we have 2 events saved. This will start tomorrow, this will start the next day, Tuesday, Wednesday. Rather than just running Monza and Spa like everybody else and just not changing it and being super boring, you can mix your server up to be different every day. What else you can do with this as well is if you was hosting championships, which I'm looking to do in the future, so like events where it's 1 a week or 2 a week over the weekend, people accumulate points, they will also be announced on here. So if we click on the championship tab, I've not actually done this yet, but it seems to be like the same type of thing. If we click view, it'll automatically generate points for that person. And then we already have some preset events. You could go on add event and create your own the same way that it works with the presets tab. So yeah, there's no different. You can create your own championships via this as well. So results, if we just find a nice full race, here we go, Barcelona, plenty of people in this. If we click on this, it tells you everything you need to know. Player name, what car they was in, total time in the race, how many laps they did, and their fastest lap. And then if we click on this person, it'll take us to every lap that they did with sector times and lap times. It tells us if the lap was invalid, driver's best sector for sector 1, 2, and 3. So this is pretty good. This could be useful for monitoring lap times, you know, for whatever else you might need this data for. A lot of these people just leave. Public lobbies for you. People come in, do the qualifying, get pitted on the first lap, and just quit. It's a pain in the ass. So next tab, leaderboards. I've never actually clicked on this tab, so I guess these are all lap times in order. Like, this is the fastest lap time that we've had. But yeah, this is quite sick. Oh look, Carl 124, Brands Hatch. Okay. There's me, Pablo Tash, BMW 124. So it's a second faster. I actually thought I was in like the high 20s for some reason, so it's not that far off. So yeah, I guess you could do all drivers. Let's find Pablo Tash, and it brings up all my lap times for all the tracks. Hey, don't look at these though. But yeah, sick, sweet. Calendar tab, we already went over this. So server settings, server options. This is where you define the title of your server. Create a password, but you wouldn't do this in here. You would do that in the event tab. Spectator password. So this is where you can just log in as a spectator. I actually have this in my Discord so that people can join as a spectator if they want. You know, my admin password. All this is kind of random though, because you define this in the event, so you don't need this. Same with these, unless you define this in here and it carries over to the presets. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, we're just going to leave the rest of them settings because I don't know if there's something on there that you're not supposed to see. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the end of the tutorial. If you need any more help, feel free to drop questions in the comments. I'll do my best to try and help with whatever it is that you need. If you want to just come race on the server, either join the Discord, just search for Tash in the server lobbies thing in ACC server list. You never know, you might find yourself in one of the videos. And once I figure out how to do championships, like once I've actually ran a championship, if I feel like there's something that needs to be added, I'll just put like a pinned comment, or I'll make another video about it, depending on how in depth it needs to go. But I think we covered everything. If you enjoyed the video or found this useful, drop a like. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.